For 2 years, he played the role of devastated father, appearing on news broadcasts, pleading for his daughter's safe return, organizing search parties, maintaining hope while the community rallied around him. But the entire time, he knew exactly where she was, because he'd put her there. And the truth, when it finally emerged, would reveal a level of deception that shook investigators to their core.
12-year-old Megan Foster was reported missing on September 3rd. Her father, Daniel Foster, called 911 at 7:42 a.m., voice panicked, saying he'd woken up to find his daughter gone. Her bedroom window was open. Her bed appeared slept in. But Megan was nowhere to be found. The initial response was massive. Police, volunteers, search dogs combing the suburban neighborhood. Amber Alerts broadcast across 3 states. Megan's face on every news station. Her school photo showing a smiling girl with braces and hope in her eyes. The community of Riverside rallied immediately, hundreds of volunteers distributing flyers, searching parks and wooded areas, organizing vigils. At the center of it all was Daniel Foster. Single father, raising Megan alone after his wife's death from cancer 3 years earlier. By all accounts, he was devoted to his daughter. Neighbors described him as protective, involved in her school, always at her soccer games. He worked from home as a software developer, which allowed him to be present for Megan constantly. In the first press conference, Daniel made an emotional plea. "Megan, if you can hear this, we're looking for you. We love you. Please come home. And to whoever has my daughter, please let her go. She's just a child. She needs to come home." His performance was Oscar-worthy. Tears at the right moments. Voice breaking with emotion. The perfect image of a father in agony. The community embraced him, supported him, never questioned him. Because who would suspect a grieving father? Detective Sarah Chun was assigned as lead investigator. She'd worked missing child cases before, too many of them. She knew the statistics. She knew that in stranger abduction cases, the first few hours were critical. She also knew that statistically, family members were often involved in child disappearances. But Daniel Foster seemed genuinely devastated. He cooperated fully with police, allowed them to search the house multiple times, provided Megan's computer and phone for forensic analysis, took and passed a polygraph test. His alibi for the evening was that he'd been home with Megan. They had dinner, watched a movie, then both gone to bed. He claimed he'd checked on her around 11 p.m. and she was sleeping. When he woke at 7 a.m., she was gone. There were no signs of forced entry beyond the open window. No evidence of struggle. Megan's phone and laptop showed no concerning communications or plans to run away. She was a good student, well-liked, no indication of problems at home or school. Everything pointed to random abduction, a child taken from her home in the night, possibly by someone who'd been watching the house. Weeks turned into months. The case grew cold. Media coverage faded. Volunteers stopped organizing searches. The community's attention moved on to other tragedies. But Daniel Foster never stopped searching. He maintained a Facebook page dedicated to finding Megan, posting daily pleas for information. He gave interviews on true crime podcasts. He attended missing children advocacy events. He became the face of a father who refused to give up hope. Behind the scenes, Detective Chun never fully let the case go. Something bothered her about Daniel Foster. Nothing concrete, just instinct honed over 20 years in law enforcement. The way his grief seemed performed when cameras were present, but absent in private moments. The way his story never varied, not even in small details that genuine memories naturally change over time. The way he'd passed the polygraph, which didn't actually mean innocence, just control. She periodically re-interviewed him, always hoping he'd slip up. He never did. His story remained consistent. His apparent devotion to finding Megan never wavered. Without evidence, There was nothing she could do. Then, nearly 2 years after Megan's disappearance, everything changed. Daniel Foster decided to sell the house. He told friends he couldn't bear living where his daughter had been taken. He was moving across the country for a fresh start. A real estate agent began preparing the property for sale, which included a home inspection. The inspector was examining the crawl space beneath the house, a shallow area between the ground and the first floor, accessible through a small door in the basement. These spaces are typically used for plumbing and electrical access, rarely entered. The inspector was checking for moisture damage and foundation issues. What he found would haunt him forever. Concealed behind insulation and plastic sheeting, in the farthest corner of the crawl space, wrapped in layers of plastic and duct tape, was Megan Foster's body. The inspector called police immediately. Within an hour, Daniel Foster was in custody. Within 24 hours, the forensic evidence had shattered his 2-year deception. The medical examiner determined Megan had died approximately 2 years earlier within days of being reported missing. The cause of death: blunt force trauma to the head and strangulation. This was no accident. This was murder. Forensic analysis of the crawl space revealed evidence that Daniel had placed Megan's body there the night she died, then sealed the area. Carpet fibers from his bedroom matched fibers found with the body. Tool marks on the crawl space access matched tools in Daniel's garage. Most damning, cadaver dogs, brought to the house 2 years earlier during initial searches, had alerted in the basement, but without probable cause to tear apart the house. And with Daniel's cooperation and past polygraphs suggesting innocence, investigators hadn't pursued aggressive searching of concealed spaces. Daniel had hidden his daughter's body literally beneath his feet for 2 years, had eaten meals, slept, given interviews, played the grieving father role, all while Megan's remains were just feet below him. In interrogation, faced with irrefutable evidence, Daniel Foster's carefully maintained facade crumbled. The grief disappeared. What replaced it was cold calculation and anger, not at himself, but at being caught. Initially, he tried to claim Megan's death was an accident. They'd had an argument. She'd fallen. He'd panicked and hidden her body rather than call for help. But forensic evidence contradicted this story. Megan's injuries showed multiple strikes, defensive wounds, evidence of strangulation. This wasn't an accident or panic. This was deliberate violence. Pressed further, Daniel's story evolved. He claimed Megan had become difficult after her mother's death, rebellious, disrespectful. He'd been trying to discipline her, and things had gotten out of hand. But investigators found no evidence of Megan being difficult. Teachers, friends, family all described her as sweet and compliant. Finally, hours into interrogation, something closer to truth emerged. Daniel admitted he'd been suffocating under the responsibility of single parenthood. His wife's death had left him with a child he hadn't wanted to raise alone. Megan had become a burden. He'd been planning her disappearance for months, researching how missing children cases were investigated, learning what evidence police looked for, even practicing emotional responses in the mirror. The night she died, he'd made his decision. He'd given her sleeping medication and her dinner. Once she was unconscious, he'd killed her. Then he'd staged the bedroom to look like an abduction, opened the window, and called 911 the next morning. The entire missing child investigation had been theater, with Daniel as the star performer. "I thought I'd gotten away with it," he told detectives, showing no remorse. "If I hadn't decided to sell the house, no one would have ever found her. I'd already started a new life. New job lined up across the country. New possibilities. She wasn't going to be part of that." The casual way he discussed murdering his own child was chilling. He talked about Megan like she'd been an obstacle to overcome, not a human being he'd created and raised. Psychological evaluation would later describe Daniel as having severe narcissistic personality disorder with psychopathic traits. someone fundamentally incapable of genuine empathy or love. Even for his own child, the community that had rallied around Daniel for 2 years felt betrayed and sick. People who'd searched for Megan, who'd donated money to reward funds, who'd comforted Daniel, who'd believed in him, all processed the horror that they'd been supporting a murderer playing a role. "I held that man while he cried about his missing daughter," one neighbor told reporters. "I organized search parties. I truly believed he was a devoted father living every parent's nightmare. And the whole time, he'd killed her. He'd hidden her body and let us search for something he knew we'd never find. I feel violated. We all do." The trial was mercifully short. The evidence was overwhelming. Daniel's own confessions, recorded during interrogation. Forensic evidence placing Megan's body in the house from the time of her death. Digital evidence showing his research into missing children investigations. His complete lack of remorse. The prosecution presented a timeline that exposed every lie. The defense had no real strategy. They couldn't dispute the evidence or claim innocence. They attempted to argue diminished capacity due to grief over his wife's death. But the premeditation and calculated deception made that argument hollow. Megan's grandmother, her mother's mother, gave a victim impact statement that left the courtroom in tears. "Daniel didn't just kill my granddaughter. He killed her twice. Once when he took her life, and again when he let the whole world believe she might still be alive, might still be found safe. He let me hope for 2 years. He accepted my comfort when I tried to console him. He looked me in the eyes and promised we'd find her together. And he knew the entire time she was dead, that she'd never come home. That level of cruelty is beyond my comprehension." Daniel Foster was convicted of first-degree murder, concealment of a homicide, and obstruction of justice. He was sentenced to life without possibility of parole. The judge's final statement captured the magnitude of his crime. "You murdered your own child, a crime abhorrent enough. But then you compounded that horror by orchestrating an elaborate deception that lasted 2 years. You wasted thousands of hours of law enforcement resources. You exploited the compassion of your community. You tortured your extended family with false hope. And you did all of this without a trace of remorse. You are precisely the type of predator that parents fear, made exponentially more dangerous by the fact that you were the person meant to protect Megan most of all." Detective Chun, reflecting on the case, expressed frustration with the system's limitations. "I suspected him from early on. But suspicion isn't evidence. He passed the polygraph. He was cooperative. His story was consistent. Without probable cause, I couldn't tear apart his house. The law requires evidence before we can act on instinct. And in this case, that protection allowed a murderer to hide his crime for 2 years. The case led to policy changes. Some jurisdictions now require more intensive searches of homes when children are reported missing, even when parents appear cooperative. Training for investigators now emphasizes that grief can be performed, that past polygraphs don't prove innocence, and that family members should remain suspects longer in missing child cases. But for Megan Foster, those changes came too late. Her body was finally laid to rest in a funeral attended by hundreds. Classmates who'd graduated without her, teachers who'd never forgotten her, community members who'd searched in vain. The service was a mixture of mourning and rage. Mourning for a child lost. Rage at a father who'd betrayed every principle of parenthood. Daniel Foster is currently serving his sentence at a maximum security facility. He's declined all interview requests. Staff report he shows no remorse and spends his time reading and maintaining his innocence in letters to appeals. Court's letters that are uniformly rejected. The house where Megan died and was hidden was eventually demolished. The lot remains empty. No developer wants to build on land associated with such horror. It stands as a gap in the neighborhood, a missing tooth, a permanent reminder of evil that lived among them undetected. Detective Chun keeps Megan's school photo on her desk, a reminder of why the work matters, why instincts matter, and why the limitations of the system can be so devastating. Megan deserved better, she says simply. She deserved a father who loved her. She deserved to grow up. She deserved justice that came faster than 2 years. All I can do now is make sure her case teaches us to be more suspicious, more thorough, and less trusting of performances of grief. The question that haunts everyone who worked this case: how many other Daniel Fosters are out there? How many other missing children are hidden in crawl spaces, buried in backyards, concealed by the very people claiming to search for them? Statistics suggest Megan's case isn't unique. Family members are responsible for significant numbers of missing children cases. Some are eventually solved. Others remain mysteries, with bodies never found and killers never identified, because they're too skilled at playing the grieving family member role. For 2 years, Daniel Foster proved that with enough calculation, enough performance skill, and enough willingness to exploit human compassion, even a child murderer can hide in plain sight, can accept sympathy while concealing evidence, can organize searches for a child he knows is dead. The only reason he was caught was real estate. A home inspection. Pure chance. Without that inspection, he might have sold the house, moved across country, and left Megan's body hidden forever. Another cold case file. Another family with no answers. Another missing child who simply vanished.